Frank Nxumalo, Media and Research Officer for FEDUSA. Botsang Muilwa is a political analyst, and you at home are most welcome to join in as well. Gentlemen, good evening to you, and thank you so much. With the continuation of the cabinet reshuffle, of course, this is going to be a talking point for months to come until the ministers settle in and there's a little bit of calm in society. Let's just look at the build-up to the cabinet reshuffle and now the imminent endorsement, if you will, of the list of 10 and their deputies.
Yes, Cindy, what I would say, I mean, it was a shock for us. Remember, this thing started just over the weekend when Gordhan was still in London. And there were rumors early Monday morning, which were later confirmed by an announcement by the presidency that indeed Gordhan has been recalled. He was overseas trying to ward off or fob off a potential sovereign downgrading, and also to woo investors in our country because our economy is not doing very well. And it was a shock, and that shock was based on our previous experience in December 2015 when President Zuma suddenly fired the then finance minister. So as a country, we're scared that, something similar is going to happen. As well, we have seen, the reactions of the markets have been negative. The rand went into free fall. I think sometime during the day, it had come down to about 13 rand 60 to the dollar. And the situation is still very uncertain. We're in a situation of great instability. I don't think that is very good for our country.
Yeah, if we draw the two examples, Botsang, we know then that it was claimed that 500 billion was lost just in that space of uncertainty. And this time around, the rand is sitting at 13 rand odd. How do you compare the two scenarios? What is distinctly different?
Well, Cindy, when people, oh, by the way, good evening to you and good evening to the viewers of ANN7. When people say the country has lost 500 billion, where did the 500 billion come from? Where was this 500 billion staged all that time? Did the country lose 500 billion or million during that time in, they call it what, 9/12? Or did the banks and the imperialists and foreign investors lose? That's what we should differentiate. But the situation actually has become very impressive. I followed the rand for the last 3 days. Before the reshuffle, because I expected the reshuffle yesterday, during the reshuffle and today. The only difference on the rand, it's a 60-cent margin. Now, I'm talking cents which may be very low. I'm talking cents which to some people's ears it may be meaningless, but when you codify it and you put it into monies, it may be quite a lot of money when you look at the bigger picture. However, the question is, who is losing? Is it the country? Is it the private investors? Is it the foreign investors? But we should not forget that the rand exchange rate is not real. It's not true. It's a commodified currency that was colluded with by the banks, and therefore we cannot bank on it. But however, I must say, it has been very impressive that the rand did not react badly, as it was expected. The market is silent and stabilized. We will start actually seeing the activities of the currency from Monday. At the moment, there is a little bit stability. The rand is on and off. There's challenges in the U.S. which are impacting on our currency. But we should not actually put a blind eye on the fact that the president has surprised many. He has surprised us as analysts. He has surprised the Labour Federation. He has surprised his own colleagues in cabinet with well-vested powers within the constitution of the country. But I looked at the march or the protest or the supposed to have been the protest of the Save South Africa, whatever it's called, and Zwelinzima Vavi today. It was moderate. It did not make an impact that was expected. But what went wrong today at the Treasury, and I have to mention that, is the Minister of Finance or the former Minister of Finance, the former Deputy Minister of Finance, and the Director General in the Treasury walking into the Treasury building and being received by protesters against the decision of the head of state. That is not correct. That cannot be accepted. members of the Treasury or employees of the Treasury, they were standing there singing and praising chants for the outgoing minister in protest. We have to acknowledge that it was in protest and actually being supported by members of the Save South Africa campaign. My appeal to the people of South Africa, to the people like Sipho Pitjana, Zwelinzima Vavi, and all those others who are not in Zuma's camp who have lost, is to say, let us give the new cabinet an opportunity.
All right, we cut live now to the union buildings. The proceedings are underway. This President Jacob Zuma, who will be swearing in the newly appointed ministers and their deputies.
Deputy Ministers designate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the swearing-in ceremony of ministers and deputy ministers. It is now my honor to respectfully invite His Excellency President Jacob Zuma to commence with the swearing-in ceremony of ministers. Your Excellency, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Director General, Director of this program. In terms of the powers vested in me by Section 91 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, I've decided to appoint the following persons as ministers for the portfolios indicated in the signed President's Acts. They are the following. Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize as Minister of Home Affairs, Ms. Thokozile Xhasa as Minister of Tourism, Ms. Ayanda Dlodlo as Minister of Communications, Ms. Mamoloko Kubai as Minister of Energy, Mr. Makani Joseph, not Makani, yeah, correct. Mr. Makani Joseph Maswanganyi as Minister of Transport. I now request the Justice Kampepe to either swear or affirm them in the office. I thank you.
I call upon Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize to come up. I request you to please read the oath. I, Hlengiwe Mkhize, I affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, and I undertake to hold my office as Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously, and to be the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
I now call upon Ms. Thokozile Xhasa to come up.
I, Thokozile Xhasa, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. I undertake to hold my office as Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand and say, so help me God. So help me. May I please call upon Ms. Ayanda Jojo to come up?
I, Ayanda Jojo, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the land, and I undertake to hold my office as Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
I call upon Ms. Marlo to come up.
I, Mamuluko, swear, I, Mamuluko Kubai, swear solemnly that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, and I undertake to hold my office as Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say so help you God.
So help me God.
I call upon Pastor Joseph Masomayo to come up.
I, Mkachani Joseph Masomayo, solemnly swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I undertake to hold my office as Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say so help you God.
So help me God.
Distinguished guests, I will now respectfully invite His Excellency the President to the podium to commence the swearing-in of Deputy Ministers. Your Excellency, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director of the program. In terms of the powers vested in me by Section 93 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, I've decided to appoint the following persons as Deputy Ministers for the portfolio as listed in the signed President's Acts. They are as follows. Mr. Benedict Anthony Martins as Deputy Minister of Public Enterprises. Ms. Dipuo Letsatsi Duba as Deputy Minister of Public Service and Administration. Mr. Sifiso Buthelezi as Deputy Minister of Finance. Ms. Thandi Mahambeshala as Deputy Minister of Communication, Mr. Bongani Kongi as Deputy Minister of Police, Ms. Nomathemba November as Deputy Minister of Small Business Development. I thank you.
I now call upon Mr. Benedict Anthony Martins to come up.
I, Benedict Anthony Martins, solemnly I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I undertake to hold my office as Deputy Minister with honor, dignity, to be true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. I affirm.
It is my pleasure to call on Ms. Dipuo Letsatsi to come up.
I, Dipuo Letsatsi, I solemnly swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. I undertake to hold my office as Deputy Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Thank you, ma'am. Please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God. Thank you.
pleasure to call on Mr. Sifiso Buthelezi to come up.
I, Sifiso Buthelezi, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I undertake to hold my office as Deputy Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say so.
So help me God.
I call upon Ms. Thandi Mahameshala to please come up.
Swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I undertake to hold my office as the Deputy Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of the office conscientiously and to the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say so in the Lord. It is my pleasure to call upon Mr. Bongani Mtholi to come up.
Solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I undertake to hold the office of the Deputy Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counsellor, not to divulge directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me and to perform the functions of my office conscientiously and to the best of my ability. I
It is my pleasure to call on Ms. Nomathemba November to come up.
I, Nomathemba November, solemnly swear that accept solemnly swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. And I undertake to take my office as Deputy Minister with honor and dignity, to be a true and faithful counselor, not to divert directly or indirectly any secret matter entrusted to me, and to perform the functions of my office consciously and to the best of my ability.
Please raise your right hand and say so help me God.
So help me God.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, we have come to the end of the swearing-in ceremony. We wish to thank you, the Honorable Justice Sisi Hampepe, the new ministers and deputy ministers, the attending ministers and deputy ministers, and all the ladies and gentlemen, and the gentlemen and ladies of the media for attending the swearing-in ceremony. I kindly request all of us to remain standing to allow His Excellency the President and Justice Hampepe to take leave of us. Your Excellency, Mr. President.
Mr. President, retired finance minister, and I also wanted to ask why the memorial at the Casado Foundation, or the Ahmed Casado Memorial, was postponed indefinitely. Are you able to give us some answers, please, sir? Mr. Zuma? Mr. Zuma?
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we now invite ministers and deputy ministers who have just been sworn in to proceed to the dining room for a replica to the designated area for the official photographs. We thank you most sincerely. Good evening.
All right, so that concludes the business of the day. The new ministers and deputies have been sworn in as we bring you the live coverage there. President Jacob Zuma having led that particular process of getting the ministers to take their oath of office. And we were just saying in studio, it seems the gender parity balance was very well reached by the president. He would, of course, appease the Youth League as well. We see young blood in the cabinet, which is what...
are you feeling jealous that you're not part of the...
This ageism must fall.
Is it making you feel a bit jealous?
Yeah. So we're joined by esteemed panelists. Just to get a quick reaction, Andile Mqitama is the convener of the Black First, the Land First. Frank Ngumalo is a media and research officer for FEDUSA. And we have Professor Engel from the South African Taxation Association. Botsang Moyilo is a political analyst. I'm Cindy Mavi. Who are you?
I have no idea who I am at the moment, but thank you very much, and we welcome our viewers. It's been an interesting turn of event, obviously starting early hours of this morning. I'm surprised to see Cindy still doesn't have eye bags, but we're all here, and it seemingly, gentlemen, seems like it's done. And it's official. We have new cabinet ministers. We just want to get your response, particularly looking at the quality of individuals that President Jacob Zuma has elected into office. They are professional, and it seems like they are pretty much qualified to be where they sit. There's been media commentary. I've been listening to radio and other medias throughout the entire day. It seems like, in a nutshell, is it justifiable, as it were? Maybe that's a question South Africans want to know. And I'm going to start with the most controversial individual in amongst you, and I'm going to start with Andile. Andile, if you can tell me your feelings and your thoughts as you saw those members being sworn in.
Now, let's start from the beginning. Our movement, Black First, Land First, has been calling for the president to move on Pravin Gordhan. In fact, we have a high court matter with Pravin where we wanted the court to declare him captured, compromised, and conflicted. We argued that in those papers that Pravin could not carry out his responsibilities because he was appointed by White Monopoly Capital and he has shares in those very same companies, and therefore is captured the whole treasury. And we are very happy, we're excited that this has happened. So that's the first point, to say well done to the president of the country. He has shown leadership. He has shown that, in fact, he has the guts and he has the foresight, and would say he has the vision. So now the question is this: is this new cohort of ministers able to carry through his vision of a radical transformation? We had said, you know, particularly on treasury, some criteria must be, the minister must not be beholden to white capital, must not worry about the financial markets too much, must worry about the people, must not worry in particular about the rating agencies, must put people first, and must be prepared to nationalize the Reserve Bank. Malusi Gigaba, the minister, I think he can. I think about in soccer terms, you know, somebody, an outsider. It's good that all these ministers in some ways are also outsiders and they're young. But in soccer terms, I'm thinking about Zidane. I think that, you know, people are saying, oh, this guy can't do this. And he got a big job and he stepped up to, you know, the plate. And I think that Malusi Gigaba would do this with the guidance. He has to go against white capital. We are tired being excluded in our own country.
Yeah, I hate to break the flow of events, but just a logistical or housekeeping matter. We have literally 6 minutes. And I know Clive can take up the bulk of it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Abuadideng.
6 minutes to do what?
Yeah,
But
so
anyway,
we want to
let me-
share that equitably.
Let me just add on what Andile had just said and forget what the white media is saying and the speculations and the uncertainty. We should not put a blind eye on the fact that Malusi Gigaba has been in parliament, has been in government, has been in the cabinet. He served under Thabo Mbeki in one of the most important cabinet positions as the Minister of Public Enterprises, which is very key economic cluster position. He then went on to serve in the Department of Home Affairs, one of the most difficult, the most senior government. People who know public administration, they will tell you, after the presidency, the most senior cabinet position is the Minister of Defense, then comes the Minister of Home Affairs. And he has served that very well. So I do not know why are the people in doubt that he is capable. And we should not even put a blind eye that Malusi Gigaba is an MBA graduate. And I don't know why do people are having difficulty in doing that. But the beautiful thing about Treasury is guidelines, rules, acts, and regulations are very clear. There is no in-between. You've got technocrats in the Treasury who are experts in that field of study, who are experts in that field. They will carry the minister through and the programs of the ruling party.
You were talking about Home Affairs with Professor Hlengiwe Mkhize now taking over, formerly with Telecoms and Communications. She is known to be a very pragmatic leader, graceful, hardworking, etc. This is the efficiency that the ANC was talking about in how they're going to run the departments.
Well, for me, Cindy, it doesn't matter whether a minister moves from one government department or another. It's the whole executive authority. The ANC all these years have been saying they're working collectively. Malusi Gigaba and Hlengiwe Mkhize, they've been part of the executive authority. So there should have been a system where ministers are sharing information between each other and how government processes work. So I do not expect any a negative move. What is positive? It's a radical change. Yeah. There's radical economic policies at hand. There's new face. There's youngsters. We saw. I'm glad that there's too many male sitting here. The whole new cabinet is filled up with young, beautiful black women who are supposed to take this country forward.
You seem very excited about that, by the way.
I think time is up. Jacob Zuma, guys, 6 months back I wrote a paper that said Jacob Zuma is going to do the unthinkable. And everybody thought I'm crazy. It has happened.
Yeah.
It has happened. And what I'm saying is we should rally behind this cabinet as a nation. Rally behind this cabinet and see what do they have in hand for the benefit of the poor black majority in this country.
I want to ask Prof, you understand global politics. You understand the fundamentals of putting into place cabinet. You understand diplomacy and what it actually means. Do you see a serious act of out of the norm that the president has done in reshuffling his cabinet?
No, look, I mean, presidents can reshuffle. So, I mean, look, if you're the president, that's one of your most important powers, and you should freely be able to reshuffle. And I don't really think that's the problem here. The real problem is the why.
Yeah.
So you can, maybe it is a radical transformation goal. But usually when people are doing a radical change, they're going to announce, they lay out a plan, they set the thing out. And one of the problems here is that Zuma likes to keep it all on the inside. So whatever the plan is, yes, maybe after the fact he's right, maybe he's right as well, that there is this plan. But you've never really heard him articulate a vision for a plan. So now that there's no articulation in that vision, everybody is filling in the gap. Now, they believe it's going to be a good gap, the opposition going to be a bad gap. But it's all open to speculation. And because it's open to speculation what the real intent is, that creates the uncertainty. That makes people nervous, not only abroad but here.
I don't think so. I think if you look at the SONA, the State of the Nation address, the president for the first time provided a clear framework what he means by radical transformation, and then thereafter gives good content on the land question, for instance. Look about how in the SONA he mentions using the instrument available to him, and he actually gives us the statistics of the resources inside the state which are being used by white capital, which he wants now to be transformed into the hands of black people. I think he has a plan, he has articulated it. Of course you need more detail, but in terms of the vision about where he wants to take this thing, I don't think I can fault him.
Yeah, let's quickly get a response from Fedusa. You had criticized the sacking of Pravin Gordhan as a union. Just looking at this cabinet now, are you more convinced that perhaps it was necessary for a radical change?
I think Tikaba will learn. For example, if I take back to around 1994, during the Mandela cabinet, when Trevor came in, he was in the same situation. Trevor Manuel came in, he was in the situation as Kikaba today. He did learn, so I think he's got the capability of learning. He's also somebody who brings, a lot of experience as a public service. 7 years been with public enterprise, he has been with Home Affairs, so he's got the potential to learn and whatever portfolio he has taken, he has coordinated very diligent. He's a very industrious minister, so I think we should give him a chance. I think the other problem with the focus has been rather on the individual, those who oppose the reshuffling, that the individual, Pravin as an individual, not the institution. So they also got this tendency, of using the court. There's this constitutional principle that we have got to separate powers. Then the courts have got to allow, according to the principles, allow the executive to do their own duty. And if we rely too much on the courts, we're actually underlining, democratic practice. That's what I would say.
Much appreciated, Babu Ngumalo. And that's my song and dance, I guess. For now, Clive Ramatibela Smith continues with BizPulse. Do stay with ANN 7 Prime.